correct about that one as we get ourselves into it. And the bans indeed begin. BDS has the first and final ban. Oxygen has the last attacker ban and first defender ban. Those will be the two orange ones you see in the middle. Zero is up first. Zero is actually very useful specifically on this map as well as a few others. And not only that, but Oxygen specifically loves to use Zero here. So this is basically a target ban against them. Oxygen as well going to bring Knock out of play once more. Knock sees far too much action on this map specifically and across quite a few of the others in more recent times as well, so a very good choice to be removed here.
Making a lot of sense so far. Really liking that Zero ban as well, because as you said, Oxygen loves this operator. They also like to use him a lot on Chalet, so just a good thing to take off of their menu. Knock and Mira also obviously gone, and we're going to round this out with Azami, so making so much sense across the board here. Really just trying to thwart a lot of the defensive setup, defensive preparation with the mirror windows as well as the keep up barriers, and the Nook also taken out so that they don't have to worry about somebody trying to avoid the cameras down low, although for BDS's setup they really wouldn't have to in this scenario in the first place as they look to have a LEMS on the pulse for this one.
Basement's up first, which shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. We've already seen both teams earlier when we played this map, when we cast this map in our second series of the day, go directly for that one. It's still by far kind of the safest pick for most teams with regards to their defensive setup. So once more, BDS is going to be leaping directly on top of that. Shouldn't see a whole lot of repicks as a result of that from Oxygen unless they see an operator pick or two that surprises them. You can see here the repicks that we are getting are relatively minor in scope, but potentially going to evolve a little bit more. Fox is going to add that extra firepower, of course, by going over to the Twitch, feeling that the drone as well as the carbine that she'll be more likely carrying is going to be more needed than the Ash in this scenario. And the same can be said, of course, for Sweater. Swapping out the sledge, going to the Dokkaebi instead for the extra intel, and of course, just changing up the style of Heartbreach by moving Dream over to a different one.
Looks like we're going to have a little roam game going on here inside of open area initially for BDS, and this is honestly going to be a pretty strong play centralized around the pulse, being able to coordinate a decent amount of this, especially for the top floor clear. That will more than likely come in from Oxygen once they recognize what the situation's like. Looks like we're having some initial fights here, and that's what I was waiting on right there. I was just giving it some space. Sweater, dynamic when it comes to the DMR. A single shot's all that's needed, and Shaiko's already dusted. A terrible start for him.
Clean one from Sweater, though, and a nice start for him, as we did see him struggling a little bit in the matchup yesterday, so good to see him getting off to the right foot as soon as we get ourselves into this matchup. Immediately as well, 2 out of 4, of the Goyo cans now gone from Renshiro's arsenal as the Twitch drone sneaks right in and pops them both out of there. So all that delay utility now down for the count. Good news is they've got some fallback on that, though. Brede still with the smoke. We could see some usefulness come out of that in the eventuality that we get the security plant from Oxygen in about 2 minutes.
They have plenty of utility to try and get out of this situation. The issue is the way that they've set up the map, because a lot of this is open to the taking for Oxygen. They have to try and fight back, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try and take it to vertical here on Marble Stairs, and it's working out initially. He's going to try and send a drone in here as well. Newers on the other side of the map, though, down inside of the garage, dealing some considerable damage over to Renshiro. They're trying to send some shots back, and Newer's thinking about a reposition here, and why not? I mean, you're really just delaying time while the rest of your team tries to gather control of stock era, rather, these servers, trying to work their way in towards the offices here. So they can get this plant down on the main wall. Oxygen doing a pretty bang-up job of keeping things open across the entirety of the map. You can see Foxay still up towards the lobby space as well. Keep BDS guessing. Also keep those avenues open for later on in the round. Never know when you can sneak in behind and get some big kills like this. Newer's the patience play. It works out for him in Garage. 2 big kills coming his way, and more than likely a guaranteed plant.
Time continues to tick down. Oxygen feel they have the safety to be able to go for the plant themselves. They may be right about this. Dream maybe too deep into it and just hard commit to it. Indeed, he will, and just barely escapes as well. One more tick from that one. He would have been a dead player here. Thankfully, wouldn't have meant too much. Would have been lost for the Oxygen roster at the end of the day. They still had pretty much full control over the situation. Anyway, one more quick kill seals the deal, and they're first on the board at 1-0.
That's already 4 kills for Newers, by the way. Which, wow, just wow. All from the garage position. Able to gather that while the rest of the team is working the mid-floor, and constantly the Cloak and Dagger waiting out in the garage, picking people to shreds as they tried to cross over his line of sight. It's going to be the first round going over to Oxygen, and led off by a nice pick as well there from Sweater.
So we go deeper into the prep phase for round number 2 here. Oxygen see what they potentially look to change up with regards to their operator selection. They're specifically trying to cater anything for this specific site take. This tends to be a little bit more of a trickier one in terms of how players try to handle it. Yes, of course. Not giving us too many surprises with the way that they are looking to handle this one. Going to be bringing the Solus in to allow Lems to get that extra roam presence upstairs, their stocks as well as Janitor. And we'll have players like Renshiro still trying to trip up the entry game from Oxygen by throwing those goo mines out on the usual access points and the usual pain points the attackers will be looking to take control, giving them that extra audio cue from a distance as well as just slowing them down in a tense situation if this goes down to the timer when everything is said and done.
BDS are looking to get it back in blood, John. Going for the initial spawn peak here, but I don't think they're going to get too much. Oxygen playing it close to the chest, close to the building. Want to try and get themselves into any area where they could potentially be taken down by BDS. Lots of angles being played out now. Some castle barricade destruction coming in via the Flores drone. Plenty of soft destruction here in the likes of Sweater. Verticality could work its way in here, but doesn't mean that Oxygen just can't take this horizontally. A lot of options for them there as well. As you can see, E2 actually isn't reinforced. That would be a great positive angle to try and adopt into this play here. Cut down on some of those rotations over from Marble Stairs. So have a lot of presence on that top floor as well. Looks like Foxy wants to try and deal with this as he's going to readjust to the ATM's repel.
Nothing to be found from that Twitch drone, but still a little bit more work for Foxy to do. We're going to checking things out here before he's going to feel the need to try and move forward and begin creeping into BDS's territory here. BDS doing a much better job of at least stemming the tide for that opening minute or so, not giving anything away here, but could very well change as Foxy nearly clips the head off of Renshiro. This time, though, it's going to be Shaiko getting revenge for the opener on the last round as he takes down Sweater first this time, compared to the last round where he was the first to go down, if I remember correctly. That will leave BDS in charge of the situation currently at a 5v4 as we just passed the halfway mark on the round.
All right, Oxygen have set up their active combat zone and they've sent in the Terminator. You can hear all of the pings going off via the logic bomb. Newers knows where a handful of these players are. He's going to quickly eliminate a Lems and dip back into blue. Whether there could be potentially a flank. Nothing coming though from BDS. They had no idea that he was even in the area, but always good to just cover your bases. Make sure that there's nothing that could potentially bubble over and ruining the round for you. Newers is going to adjust himself over to Marble Stairs. They found their initial pick, but that pick onto Sweater might be the one that's going to give them the biggest issue.
We're still creeping around here, looking for a second target, but it's vertical next to be clipped off here. Like a fact, yet to be dealt with here, a top square, so he'll get that one for free. So unfortunately, Oxygen not even looking out for that one. Dream, though, is there for the exchange. Finds a roaming Renshiro just beyond the wall into break room there. Foxy adding one to the counter as well. Finally dealing with the issue of like a fact somewhere around square, leaving just Bride and Shaiko alive deeper in open area, as well as the other site here. Bride ready to fend off the potential challenge hop in from break room. That's an easy shutdown against Dream. Will it be so easy for the others, though? For Bride, it will seem like it, but no! Foxy closes it down instead, and Oxygen clutches out just barely on the second round.
Fantastic angle work there from Fox, especially around the cubicle. Had to make it work out from the kitchen angle. Made the adjustment as well there. You saw for just a split second. Adopted the wrong angle, but able to just bounce right under those shots. Come back up and find the significant bullet. Oxygen up 2-0 against BDS. The very first one, pretty considerable round. That one a lot more hotly contested as BDS had something to say, but just not a whole lot. Able to get it down into the 1 versus 1, but it was really a whole team effort just to get him there in the dying moments.
So as we move into round number 3 here, BDS is going to be positioning themselves up on the second floor. This is oftentimes one of the toughest ones for the defenders to properly maintain. Requirement to bring those castle barricades that you're seeing get set up over on the north side of this one, just so they can have some presence against the constant barrage of both utility and bullets that are going to be coming out from those northern repelled windows. Oxygen will be on those in just a few moments here. The defenders sometimes have no choice but to give up a little bit of room to play into that, whether it's going to be janitor, meeting room, or even by rotating down and around to try and retake it from another avenue here. Let's see how successful BDS's hold attempt will be as Oxygen now out onto the board with a very similar lineup to what we've already had from them quite a bit here in the past few rounds.
On the assault, it's going to be Newers again, this time coming in from dirt. We saw him eventually reach this position. inside the last round, about halfway through as he readjusted from window position, more than likely adopted for the early round as they process the top 2 floors there. This time, though, wants to start down low and see if he can sneak up one of these stairwells, potentially catch a roamer. Could be moving across that base floor. As for BDS, it's going to be the top floor defense here for them as they're trying to hold things down inside of CEO. Fox is going to continue to try and hold things down across lobby, though, as he still has that ATM angle that he can adopt that we saw previously, as well as a few things he can play on the farther windows. Newers is going to miss some crucial shots, one you don't see very often, and one EFAC will be very happy with.
BDS trying to line up another play, and they'll make it. Shaiko surges forward on the inside of Stock, finding the down of Sweater once again here, eliminating the Ash from play. No crucial attacker utility has been lost due to both of these deaths, but the player count deficit is nothing to scoff at if you're Oxygen right now. Need to try and make up this kill in the next few seconds, otherwise this round may already be done and dusted. Fox 8, meanwhile, nearly losing his own life by trying to rappel around those glass windows over on the west side of the building. He's not able to line up any damage against his opponents here either, and eventually has to give up that position due to being shot back at. So we'll regroup with the other 2, trying to push their way in from square in just a second here. Problem is, now that they have lost those extra players, they don't necessarily have the confidence, it seems, to open up the full execute, but they'll need to try and push towards it anyways. Dream starts things up, opening the far square wall. At least give them an access point to work their way in. Some good intel is found as well with regards to where Lycofac is trying to play down below in Archives, but Lycofac reads into it, realizes there's going to be pressure against him, baits it back a little bit more to try and waste out that extra time. So far doing a fantastic job of just wasting out the remaining presence Oxygen may still have on this map.
Back and forth, the Dream and EFAC go. Will eventually drop off into the lower domain. Try and come up main stairs here. Should be fairly straightforward for him, though. Fox is going to adopt top square. Oh, BDS. Finally able to find a few members of Oxygen that were lurking over on this far side. Vertical's just going to send it into sight, because really, what else do you do in this situation? It's time to take some gunfights, isn't it? He'll get the first one, can't get the second, as Shaiko will shut him down. He's found himself. No more soul searching here for BDS. They have a round.
Clean coordination from BDS there as well. Basically no mistakes made along the way there. Yeah, 1 or 2 trades end up happening just as a result of gunfights being taken when they possibly could have not been taken. But at the end of the day, it's still BDS in full control of this entire map all throughout the round. Never really a risk of Oxygen taking it the other direction there. So some clean stuff indeed to finally put them on the board after 2 successful pickups so far from OXG.
That also means that BDS is going to get access to the lockers here again. They obviously complete things on the top floor, but not having won this, that means they can just send it right back downstairs and try and work it out all over. That complex of a puzzle, all about the hatch play here. Last time it was more of a open area kind of play, though, as they were trying to get in the faces of Oxygen, but it was pretty ill intent, as it seems. The Sweater was quickly able to take down Shaiko. That was the very first kill of this entire game, and it was a singular shot. That's all he needed, as he one-tapped him over inside of open area. And that really led to BDS just falling apart for the remainder of that round. You know, when your roam game kind of falls down and you have every hatch open for the basement site, not exactly going to benefit you all that well, and all that led to an Oxygen flawless round. So hopefully this one goes a tad bit better. Looks like BDS is going to have some certain tidbits around the site to slow them up, whether it be, you know, the Goyo canisters or the Yokais or the smokes. It's all going to work fairly well for them. We are going to have Shaiko on the Pulse here. That is something that you kind of touch on. This is a fantastic site for Pulse. Anything basement oriented is usually pretty solid for him, especially if there is verticality. On Bank, not so much, but he gets a fantastic read on the plant inside of the main bomb site over near the server end, just by standing over inside of Gold Vault. So that's usual we'll tend to see out of our Pulse players.
Newer's going for a very slow swing. Already past Beeper, so has given off a small amount of intel, but they won't know he went for the actual stairs transition just yet, hoping there may have been a player from BDS at the halfway point down this next staircase itself. However, not really going to be met with much. He has to go for the full peek on this one and breed it. More than likely has a winning angle if he does commit to it. It'll take some sharp marksmanship skills from Newers to try and respond to that properly against Breed. Even with the assistance of the phone call here, it's not going to be helping him out too much. So you can understand the hesitation for most of Oxygen here, not wanting to try and push that play further forward. Foxy, of course, now opening up the back Gold Vault hatch here. give the team a little bit more access. We've already seen players been able to use this one and get away with quite a bit, just with 1 or 2 players sneaking down that hatch. We'll see if there's going to be some potential for Fox or maybe someone else to use that later on in the round. For the rest of the team, though, they are prepared to make the usual push deeper into server and eventually security here.
Plenty of time here for Oxygen. Newers with a big pick. Sweater trying to progress through the other angle. You can see the pinch kind of going on there as they attempted to distract from one angle, get a pick on the other. Doesn't work out for them. Fortunately enough, though, that will be Shaiko off the board. And it seems like Newers time and time again able to best him in these positions. These two titans of Siege go back and forth here on Bank. Oxygen looking for a position to try and get this bomb down. Let's see if they can try and force it onto the A site. Get rid of some of these Goyo canisters with that frag grenade, as Newers is going to go for a little swing. Get rid of the other canister here, and that'll clean up the majority of them, I believe, inside of the bomb site. So making things a tad bit easier for them to get this plant down. They have one on the far end here that they might have to deal with, but don't know if that'll roll over. Might be just out of reach if they just plant that at the proper point right past the cusp of the bomb site.
Norris has realized it. Trying to line up the nade for it now, but also may want to try and save that as a thing. He's trying to rationalize where's the best spot to try and put this one down. Goes for a deeper chuck to try and get some extra vision into the lockers room as well. Nice rotate coming in from Vert in the meanwhile. Somehow made this drop without getting noticed and just snipes out like a fact. Interruptions coming in from Alems. He still has the Echo utility to be able to be used here. Nicely played out by Renshiro. Also, the time is up as a result of that one. And BDS will somehow hold on to the basement play and take another round for themselves.
All in the Yokai play. Echo all the way out inside of Garage, the single location that Oxygen did not check. Had players moving around, you know, E1 moving their way into the central office area, trying to find where the remaining BDS members resided, but just some solid hiding places for them near the tail end of that round is all it took to get it over on Oxygen. But Oxygen, I mean, pretty quick work of the initial part of that round, you know, getting set up pretty quick. But past that, BDS definitely making good on their promise when it came to the utility game. You know, able to constantly keep Oxygen back, those Goyo canisters being quite a nuisance and making it to where they didn't really have to baby the server area nearly as much as they normally would. And they could really focus on what was going on over near main stairs. And as well as that is just keeping the man count pretty equal when it came to their trades as the entries were coming through. Made it to where BDS were able to process that extremely well when it came down to those dying moments, especially with the Echo still up and those Yokais active.
5 seconds to insertion.
Well, dead heat now as we enter the final third of this half, and the final 2 rounds along with it. BDS looking to, of course, recenter themselves and take the larger majority of rounds from this half. But Oxygen on the attacking side, we would somewhat expect them to forge a path ahead. Going off of previous metas, of course, in his previous tournaments, we expect this one to be right around 3-3 or 4-2 in the favor of Oxygen, but we'll have to wait and see how exactly things pan out, and we can talk a little bit further about how things may evolve from that point. At the moment, though, just Oxygen trying to open up, well, pretty much everything they can here to get themselves some better access to open area. So not going to see any action evolve from that just yet, but it could be cooking up here over the next few seconds.
Well, some paperwork to get through first, though, John. Slide that passport over. See if you're getting across the border. Got some utility to at least get rid of here. Get rid of that little proximity scanner, as well as everything else. To make sure they don't have to worry about these cameras and everything else in between before trying to work their way across this top floor. BDS more than likely having some nitro cells in the wings. This is going to be the one on Shaiko, but they have a lot of utility that they can still use to get some information on the positioning of Oxygen upstairs. Alems is actually going to be around with Solus to be able to try and thwart a lot of the game plan when it comes to them clearing things out, but that's what Vertical's for. You have those logic bombs to try and assist you with that execution as well as, you know, positional awareness of the opposition. So, big things here now, and that nitro cell going to land now for Shaiko as he's constantly been picking Sweater apart. Foxo pick a big one up onto Renshiro, though, as he's opened up the top floor.
Foxy just trying to pop out more panels, see what may present itself to him as he tries to pre-fire into a few angles. Like fact, though, snipes out another player that was looking to try and get closer to the inside of the building as Dream is found out just outside of stock window. Newers trying to rotate over, but obviously he's a little late to the party in terms of immediately trading this one out. More than anything, just here to grab the case. So we're still waiting to see how Vertical will also be adding his own prowess to this equation. Working himself outside and around right now to regroup with his teammates, and I think work his way in through Electrical to make the push through Square, while we still have Foxy, of course, looking to try and control things closer to the front end of the building here, focusing heavily on the drone game and giving those callouts to Newers as well as Vertical about where the individual members of BDS are going to be playing closer to the chest in this site. 35 seconds to go as well, so we do need to see a bit more urgency from Oxygen at some point in the next 10 seconds here, otherwise they are more than likely going to end up running out of time to make this execute work.
This is starting to become impossible for Oxygen. It looks like they know where at least one player is, but the angles are bad for Fox. He can't find one where he can actually pick off this player. Shaiko's actually just waiting for him to fall down through this hatch so he can kill him. Looks like Likafak is going to try and come up behind him as well, and it works out for them. Alem's taking up Newers, and it should be a fairly straightforward kill for him. Take him down. Vertical will get one, but I don't believe he's going to get these next two, especially in 3 seconds. Smoke in, and well, not able to kill. Valkyrie can't get it, but neither can the Dokkaebi, but it will be a BDS round there as BDS delays all of the time in staff room open area.
Oxygen not happy with what's been occurring over the past 3 rounds or so. BDS has made a massive swing comeback here with 3 rounds back to back to back, so that is going to prompt the early TO to come in from OXG before we reach halftime here, as they do need to figure out not only what they are doing wrong, just of course from this half's perspective, but on an overall game perspective too, potentially some things that could still be changed up when they go to the other side. That's where the input's going to be coming in from their coach right now, and you can hear him talking about it right there. Well, actually, you can't hear it anymore because obviously we probably have to mute that. But
Good job, John.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't believe you.
For the sleuthy ones, though, they heard his first 2 sentences. We went to his camera before we muted him.
That's what all the analysts are doing. They're like, clip that, clip that. What is that? What did he say?
Isolate Blue and Stokes' voice and remove it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Enhance. No. So when it comes to what we've been seeing so far for these two, specifically for Oxygen, you really got to feel for them from the offensive perspective. Bank, the worst map that we have right now in the pool for defensive win rates. Actually, no, I take it back. Border is beating it by 1% right now. 47% for Border, 48% for Bank. But either way you cut that, it's still pretty trash. So as of right now, BDS giving a lot better than they should when it comes to this side. Locker CCTV tends to be obviously the most beneficial one for the defense, 64% for that. Second, CEO Lounge at 40%. Open area has actually fallen off. It's the 3rd highest now at 38, and obviously Teller's Archives wrapping that up with a bow at a 25% success rate when the defense goes there.
10 seconds remaining.
So Oxygen with those 2 additional repicks. Not anything ground shaking, just moving Foxy onto the Dokkaebi that Vert had originally selected. And Vert only wants to play with a Zoph, so that's what we've brought in for him. Like I said, though, nothing shattering with regards to how it's changed up the overall meta of this attacking composition for the defenders. As well, no huge surprises here for BDS as they play into Tellers. Lots of cam intel needed, so they are going to bring out the Maestro. The Renegades as well, quintessential in trying to block out some of those pivotal rotation points. And then your usual fare beyond that.
A lot of info game here for BDS. Bulletproofs, Evil Eyes, Valkyrie cameras. I mean, they know every single move that Oxygen's going to make throughout this.
3 nitros prepped and ready to go as well.
Right? Like, they're just going to drone strike them. It's going to be ridiculous calling the kill streak here.
They're also playing that extension over into open pretty good too, where I think I saw even a Cade Electrical into one of those.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be a bit of a difficult one to crack for Oxygen here, but we'll see how exactly they look to approach it, as they're actually going to try to work their way in from the lobby office side here, getting them access to the elevator hallway. We had Electrical sitting on that initially, but once more we do have those impact EMPs in the game now, which has allowed them to deal with that.
That's called lone office, and it'd be the worst office to own in this entire place because your view is the AC unit outside. It's not good. Or watching the cars go and park in the garage down
and you have
low.
to see those pesky customers all day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, anytime you walk to your main glass door, it's just like, ugh, why? First of all, why am I a
Someone
banker?
pulls you aside and asks you where the deposit slips are and everything.
Yeah, right. Just ridiculous. But Oxygen looking to cash this check here. Don't think that they're going to have to use credit on this one. Well, actually, they might need a loan now. Need another body here. A Sweater just constantly dying early right now. He had that first kill, and I think he was kind of feeling himself. He's like, ooh, I killed Shaiko, right? And then it's just not happening now.
Has flatlined a little bit since that first round, so waiting patiently for the moment when he wakes up here. We can start talking about that a little bit more, but Lems as well, feeling some confidence to swing up a bit further from the main stairs. Like a fact, just deleted vertical, yeah. With the silencer on it too, he does with a thump, and he bye-bye egos as Like a fact snipes out one more. Gonna go for a second one here too if he can find the head, but it seems to be evading him currently. So he'll go for the rotation. Might be actually trying to maneuver towards a flank. So we'll wait about 10 to 15 seconds, see if he can line himself up in a position to get towards that. Dream though will be able to find a response kill to this, takes down Shaiko. Brings us into a 4v3 now.
The big issue right now is that I don't believe Oxygen have the means of production to put this case down. Like, in fact, still upstairs, you can play some counter angles, a lot of counter angles working their way in from the white stairs.
There he is.
Exactly. Dream was thinking only about challenging the bottom of that stairwell, so just makes it really, really impossible. And then Fox is going to step up to the plate as well. He knows where a multitude of them are.
The case.
But he's going to step up to the angle with the mag out of his gun, and that's not what you want to do.
There wasn't much he could really do at that point, unfortunately. Like I said, he had a really awkward position of the case down. Thought on that cross he probably would have like magnetized, picked it up, but did not end up happening, so had to go for that repeat regardless, and I think he was like sub 10 seconds also. Just not really a winnable situation when you look back at it at the end of the day, unfortunately.
Definitely not. He was a straggler. Yeah, he was just kind of at the back of the whole pack. It's like, wait up, guys. Yeah, but very unfortunate moment there for Fox, and I feel for him as well. Last week I died with like 3 grenades in my hand because I was holding the angle. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna nade him. And as soon as I pull the pin, dude, I get shot in my face. Like every time I back up, pull the pin, go to throw it. It's just the timing sometimes. It just don't work out for you, do they?
Let's see here if BDS can continue to time themselves well on the attacking side as they will swap back over towards that now as we enter round number 7. It's Oxygen's turn to take on the mantle, the defensive side, and keep in mind, falling behind quite a bit on that attacking side previously. You'll need to work extra hard to try and make up the effort. Otherwise, we could be looking at a quick map number 1 here going into the favor of BDS. If the side advantage generally tends to sway this one in the way that we expect for these rounds to go. So here we go, BDS spawned out. Once again, we are going to see a little bit of a different flair here for BDS in terms of how they'll look to approach this one. A bit more of an EU flair, specifically looking over at Like a fact. There's the Montaigne will come out to play on their very first round. Usual assortment of supporting attacker utility going to be built up behind that, though. No huge surprise, at least as far as I'm concerned.
I believe this is some of the only Monty play that we've actually gotten to watch as well, because he's been banned out so much for us. Seems like every map we go to, no Monty allowed, but this time BDS has it and ready to take it to Oxygen here. This could be the big game changer for their offensive side. Past that, the big thing, the big difference between BDS of yesterday and BDS of late happens to be the fact that the whole scoreboard is active. Look across that thing right now. It's not just the Shaiko show. We love watching Shaiko pop off, but you hate to see him lose when he does it. That's like the worst thing ever. You get 20 kills and you lose the game. Nobody wants that, especially in a competitive environment such as this. So, good for Shaiko, good for the rest of BDS, good for our Yongshiping major champions, as they're looking to try and deal a death blow here to Oxygen on the offensive side. They now have that advantage after getting through the half on the defensive end, and in pretty convincing fashion as well, 4-2.
A bomb has been located.
Like a fact, grouping up with Renshiro to try to make the push over towards top blue. Have reached that pivotal rotation point here. Let's see how they try to push it further than this. They just bully their way in with the Montaigne. Well, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do that, as there's a shield in the way, and a few toxic babes too, so that'll immediately prompt Like a fact to turn himself around, and this is pretty much a direct counter to him until we see some utility chucked in that can actually eat up the shield and allow for Like a fact to get a tad more aggressive. The only good news as a result of this is we are baiting out 30 seconds of smoke time early on in the rounds. They won't have it available, obviously, when push comes to shove in the actual site, but if they can't get past this top blue reinforcement, then it's all a moot point regardless. Dream will still have achieved the goal of delaying long enough to make the actual attack into the site not work out at the end of the day.
Well, this is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. The mountain versus smoke. Can he get around the shield? He can. Now this is going to make things pretty interesting for Dream. It was either get absolutely eviscerated by an AR or just let Monty beat the crap out of you. So pick your poison, my friend. I don't really know what you're into there. So whatever you want to get done. Looks like well, at least for Oxygen, might be able to get this Nitro Cell out, and it will. It gets around the shield as well. Oh my god, how does that even happen? I'm so impressed that that Nitro Cell actually pulled that off. That almost never happens. Able to get all that damage off and around, all because of the Soul Nitro Cell. It wasn't shot, the damage splash went through. Fantastic there from Oxygen.
Excellently played by OXG. A bit of a stroke of luck, like you said there, with the Nitro Cell ending up actually making the impact against the planter there. I thought for sure it wasn't going to work out as well there, considering that Montaigne, even I think it bounced off his shield onto the floor as well.
There's a key thing about Monty here that we always have to notate when it comes to explosions. He has a certain damage mitigation towards it, but it's only for himself. Anybody that's behind Monty, the explosive splash still hits them.
There you go.
Full breath. So
makes perfect sense there, even though the Monty did try to ping-pong it a little bit further away from his teammate, just didn't get it far enough at the end of the day. It still ends up impacting him. He goes down. BDS will start to falter a little bit with regards to their scoreline here, but only by that one round. Oxygen now just chasing the lead here. We'll have to see if BDS can hold on to it as Oxygen goes for the direct rotate up to the second floor here instead of trying what most teams have been going for, which is the open area for their secondary site.
And this is actually the second most winning defensive site as well at 40% here. Obviously the basement the most winning, as we touched on earlier. Oxygen is definitely bringing a heck of a different look than what we saw from Team BDS when it came to this site. We're going to have the shield in the hallway. We haven't seen people trying to benefit as much from that position there right outside of stock, at least when it comes to this tournament so far. We didn't have it in our last game. Nobody playing there this time around. I mean, you know, 3 months and all of a sudden the whole map's changed. What's going on with this, man?
Now we have to see how these teams look to evolve to that as BDS out and about once again here for round number 8. Looking to move themselves forward from the lobby side where we have this heavy amount of drone presence currently. We'll see if they follow that through with their own player count, as obviously they still have the 2 on rappel that are going to be trying to harass the interior of the site just from these positions as well. There's the team more than likely looking to take control of the square, or lobby is just being droned out a few seconds prior here. Twitch drone also going to try to work its way in, see if any big ticket items get taken out. I like a fact here. Certainly going to try and go for them. I'm going to try and locate these as well. Just trying to give the pings out right now as well towards the Evil Eye. Better suited being taken out by a nade there. Don't believe that one banks the way they needed it to. I also think it goes way too short on it, but the second Twitch drone chucked in there as well, going to be lost by Lycofax. That utility phase, for him at least, is over. Phone call is going to come in though, as now it's time to frag. Smokes follow it through as well. The swings coming forward. Lycofax the first to get inside. 2 others are going to follow that through once he gives an all clear call, but he has not been able to find any entries to support this push yet. Sweater, however, will be knocked out by Shaiko, and finally Lycofax strikes true, opening the gateway for the rest of BDS to swing in here and take full control of the site. May not even really need to go for a plant here when everything is said and done. We're already down to just Foxe and Dream. Scratch that, just Dream, and he only has J control here. Starts to fight back though with the first refrag. 4 more to go. It'll be a 1v5 ace from Dream if he could pull this off. BDS still does not have the plant down for themselves as well.
Well, what a way to etch your name into Rainbow Six history if you can get it done, but it'll be EFAC to take him down. And not only that, EFAC with the F2, baby, it's back. We got somebody using it still on Twitch after the nerf. No grip, no problem for EFAC. He'll get 2 kills inside of that round with the weapon and propel them to a 5-3 scoreline here. Oxygen not able to get a defensive round just yet. Well, actually, rather, able to get 1, but nothing really considerable past that. BDS mostly in the driver's seat for this one.
Attackers need to locate
BDS looking to drive this one all the way up to 7 rounds here. Just 2 more to go after Oxygen sneaks away their victory. Now that a very clutch Nitro Cell down in the basement play from round number 1 here. They'll potentially get at least 1 more opportunity to return to that on the next round after this one. But for this one, they will still have to play into an unfamiliar site as far as their defense is concerned. We'll be back over here in open area. We're going to get a lot of the same flair we had from BDS when they chose to go into this site as well. The castle, for instance, being brought in here for Sweater. This all is still being used, as you would kind of expect with most compositions at this point in the meta, by Vertical there to add that roaming prowess. Aside from that here, it's more of the usual assortment. Nothing poking out too heavily. The IQ is going to come in from BDS, though, to try and get some counter onto that Soulless roam.
Well, let's see what Vertical can do with said Soulless roam. More than likely a lot of damage to the drone game just first off. But past that, could have a solid read on some of these other players like Alems, as these two have a staring contest through a wall.
I was about to say, they're just looking at each other right now, aren't they?
Yeah, right? Not very many people that can straight up stare at a wall and be like, no, I'm looking at another person.
I mean, that's kind of it's kind of interesting how bringing Solus into the meta has, to an extent, reintroduced IQ back just as a hard counter to her. When previously IQ was like pretty much dead because of the fact that we had the context pinging introduced like 2 years ago now. So
yes, yeah. Ever since Z-Ping came in on drones, she's been kind of a moot point. There's really no reason to bring IQ, but she's really, really good at playing around Solus. You know where Solus is whenever she turns on her her scanner. Same thing with kind of a pulse situation. So makes it pretty easy. Plus, she has a really, really fun gun. Don't know if you guys have ever used the 5.52 Commando before, but if you're not living under a rock, then you know it's a very, very solid weapon with a great damage model. Oh my God! Express delivery right to Foxay's face.
If I was Fox, I'd just take my hands off the keyboard right there. It's like, well, I'm dying. Like, what are you going to do to that one? Perfectly shot by BDS. Ace in the hole indeed as they shut down Foxay. Nothing he can do to respond to that one. And BDS will take the opening kill yet again here. All but follow through though. We are halfway through the round and they've only just now claimed that first kill. So a bit more work needing to be done here by BDS. But they are, as far as I'm concerned, well on schedule here with all these top downs being opened up. And Oxygen's positioning being forced into a corner very, very quickly.
Yeah, pretty problematic for Oxygen right now. You can see them trying to work their way towards the southern side of the building, trying to play the hallway downstairs and play these angles in towards, the bomb site, as well as just the area where BDS are looking to abuse and try and wrap themselves around this space. BDS, as of right now, trying to build upon what earlier success they found on this top floor in that pick of Foxay. Everyday has been able to break up some flooring here, and Efax began moving his way down white stairs, but Oxygen not willing to show the goods just yet. Really know what they can get done here as Dream's starting to get bared down upon by Shaiko. Be an easy kill for him. Newers will get one as he'll drop downstairs. He has to reposition now. Up main, Renshiro will actually take out a Limbs, and this is going to be the equalizer here. Efac awaiting to see if he can potentially work around these two players. He'll down Newers, pre-fires the other one. It's all left up to Vertical, and he can't even stop the plant. 3 active players up against Vert, one of the best in North America that we've ever produced, but he can't get it done. Shaiko shuts him down. BDS looking to take bank.
BDS tilting this game right around for themselves here after initially struggling just to get things started off here as Oxygen went 2-0 at the beginning of this one. Ever since then, they've only claimed a single round, and BDS has gotten the other 6 for themselves in the process here. So a big swing for them, one that they are certainly going to be very, very happy that they've been able to achieve so far here. Like I said at the beginning of the last round, Oxygen still has, for this round, a bit of a saving grace that they can now return to the basement. So far, the only successful site they've played out in this half. So hoping to repeat that success and at least get them that 1 extra round out of the 3 that they now need to trigger overtime here and prevent BDS from having the 1-0 advantage entering map 2 and as well entering their own map pick.
Well, the French monsters have seemingly come to play today, especially for Shaiko and Efac's case. Both of them lighting the world on fire right now. 12 kills for Efac, 11 for Shaiko. Oxygen, a couple of players stepping up. Foxay having a good game, but can't really say so much about the others. Newer's negative right now. So many interactions that he's went for. Just hasn't really worked out in the same way that we're used to. BDS looking much stronger today than they were yesterday. Foxay going to look to see if he can find himself any drones in the dying moments of this prep phase for what could be our last map here. And speaking of maps, remember, this is BDS map's choice. Doesn't mean the worst thing in the world for Oxygen here if they end up losing this map. Is BDS definitely prepared, it seems, to play things out here on Bank.
So as the time continues to tick down inside of the actual round itself here, we've got BDS exploring their options and more importantly looking to quickly take down some utility pieces that are going to be out in the open from Oxygen, such as the support sitting over there on top blue. I think he got 2 out of 3 of those ADSs right there. May have snuck the 3rd one in before going down, but I believe he got shot out before he could achieve that one. Either way, the hold at top blue is much weaker than it was a few seconds ago, and that's what's important here as BDS tries their best to press their way through it. They're going to get tripped up here on the last occasion.
Cool, calm, and collected across the board right now by both of these teams. Nobody willing to take that extra inch. So much trouble right around the corner for either one of these squads. They just don't know it. Angle being adapted here from EFAC, making mincemeat of that wall. Nothing really on the other end, though. It's going to force all of Oxygen back downstairs. They will immediately escape hatch straight out of stock. As well as open area. Just do not want to be around this space. They'll relinquish it over to BDS, but this is also going to provide them quite a few angles here. And to be completely honest with you, this really does match the time that you'd regularly see a team going for this kind of a play. Around that halfway point is where you want to start getting hatches open and starting to make plays around this base floor. So Oxygen just kind of guaranteeing that that process would happen.
The drone is out here now.
Yeah, don't worry, Newers. I think we're all sweating there for just a split second. It's like, what the? Oh, it disappeared. Okay, thank God. Whew.
Nade kill will be found by the BDS roster after a considerable delay of their descent here. Lands directly up on top of Sweater and knocks him out for the count here. Smokes are going to flood in too, starts to block off the POV of some of these players. Foxe and thrown off there a bit as you see something working its way down through the hatch. He's able to follow it through as much as he would have liked there. The drone sneaks its way into a deeper point in the site, but still no actual BDS members committed to this drop as of yet here. They do not feel they've cleared it out well enough, and they've wasted a smoke now in the process of this one. Should, I believe, have at least one more in the arsenal, but I'll correct myself. No, like a fact that the only smokes built up, and both of them are now gone as he just threw it. So that one's gone down onto the ground here, and BDS gonna have to try and make this play work. As we've reached that pivotal 20-second marker here, where is the execute? Are they going to go for it here at all as they try to swing themselves in, finally, through security?
I gotta do something. Brady is gonna try and put the case down here, and it's all gunfights across the board. Neuros to take down. Shaiko trades back and forth. It's up to Vertical once again in the 1 versus 3. Down to the Jaeger. Might actually be able to get New up here if he can translate this over to Gold Vault, and he can. But now Newers is on such low HP, they don't have a Thunderbird or anything to help, but Newers, or rather Vertical, will decapitate Alems. Newers moving up inside of Red Hallway. The case position, so very difficult to work around, one of the hardest in all of Siege when it comes to this post plant. Look at this angle that Renshiro can adopt, all with that 1.5, that slight magnification, making those pixels so easy to play around. It'll be a fairly straightforward round there from BDS, and a heck of a bank out of them. It'll take map 2 to see if our opponent's Oxygen can really get anything done.
Fairly straightforward round, and honestly a fairly straightforward game from BDS there as they lock out Oxygen after the initial run from them for 2 rounds straight. After that, we only saw Oxygen win 1 singular round, their very first one, their very first play in basement on defense in the second half. So they've got to go back to the drawing board, focus up for some serious work. The good news is that they do have their own map pick coming up after this one, so there should be some chances